So there's a huge shift happening in the real estate world. And according to one really interesting opinion piece, it could completely change the game for, well, for everyone, buyers, sellers, and agents. Today, we're going to break down the argument that the very soul of the industry is actually at stake.
Wow, okay. So the author really isn't pulling any punches here, opening with this incredibly dramatic statement. This isn't just about market ups and downs. The argument here is that the entire identity of the real estate business is on the line. So what on earth is behind such a strong warning?
Remember that turning point we just heard about? Well, it's not some abstract idea. It's apparently being kicked off by one single massive business deal. A shakeup that's basically forcing everyone to talk about the future of real estate. And this is it. This is the deal at the very center of all the buzz. The source points to the proposed acquisition of Anywhere Real Estate by Compass. We're talking two absolute giants here, as one of the largest consolidations the industry has ever witnessed. This one event is the trigger for the author's entire argument. So what's the big deal? What could actually happen? Well, the author lays out this kind of domino effect. You get fewer independent companies, which then leads to less innovation and less diversity of thought. And the ultimate fear? That this all boils down to fewer real choices for both the people buying and selling homes and for the agents who help them. Now, to make this risk feel a little more real and less like just, business talk, the author draws this really powerful parallel from a completely different industry, and it's one that offers a pretty stark warning for what could happen next. It's a great question, isn't it? I mean, it seems totally unrelated at first, but the author uses the story of what happened to our local drugstores to paint a super vivid picture of what can happen when consolidation just keeps going and going. So this path often follows a really predictable pattern. It starts with a beloved local brand, the one everyone knows and trusts. Then that gets swallowed up by a bigger national company. But it doesn't stop there. Then that national brand gets rolled up into an even bigger corporate giant. And that's when the community really starts to feel the change. And this is the part that really hits home for regular people. According to the source, this process led to a ton of store closures, which meant it was suddenly harder to get essential services. You had fewer choices, and, maybe most importantly, you lost that familiar local connection. The argument is simple. When you lose that community feel, the service itself just isn't as good. And this is where it all comes together. The whole point of that drugstore story is that the author sees it as a direct warning, almost like a crystal ball, for the real estate industry. The argument is that the exact same pattern of consolidation could lead to very similar negative outcomes for homebuyers and sellers. Okay, so this really sets up the main event, the central conflict of the whole piece. It's basically a showdown between two fundamentally different business models, and as the author sees it, they are playing two completely different games. The author draws a really sharp line in the sand between these two. On one side, you have the conglomerates. They're accountable to shareholders, and their main focus is profit. In this world, the author warns, agents risk becoming just numbers on a spreadsheet, and you, the consumer, become a data point. But then you have the independent brokerage. They're accountable to their community. Their focus is on people, and they see their agents and clients as colleagues and neighbors. All right, so if that's the big, scary problem, what's the answer? This is where the piece really pivots and starts to make a powerful case for why those independent, locally focused firms are, well, more important now than ever before. So what's their secret weapon? According to the source, the big advantage for independents is all about being agile and connected. They can adapt to changes in the market super quickly because they don't have layers of corporate bureaucracy to deal with. They can listen directly to their clients and agents, and, this part's really cool, even when they're competing with each other, they actually inspire one another, which keeps the whole local industry vibrant and diverse. Ma'am, this quote really it sums the whole thing up perfectly, doesn't it? It suggests that the real value in real estate isn't found in stock prices or massive corporate structures, but in the trust that's built between people in the same community. It's all about being local, personal, and human. And that really leaves us with something to think about. I mean, sure, this piece used real estate as its main example, but the question it raises is so much bigger than that. As more and more industries consolidate around just a few giant companies, it's really worth asking ourselves, what is the value of local to us? And what do we really lose when it disappears?